Hey everyone, it's Alex, and you're listening to the Everyday Stories podcast, a podcast about the everyday stories from the people you know and the people you don't know, here to help you learn a thing or two about life and the stories that define us. Today, we're talking to Mistress Lauren, a professional dominatrix and certified sex coach based in NYC. She enjoys getting paid to humiliate men and hopes to destigmatize sexual shame and sex work. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank
Should I refer
you.
to you as Mistress Lauren?
Yes.
Okay.
Or
cool.
just Lauren is good.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, what is a dominatrix?
Okay, so I kind of said it in the intro that I forgot I sent you. You humiliate mostly men. That's kind of my job. So it could be different for everyone. Like any dominatrix can do things differently. The way that I do it is I do it a mix of in-person sessions and virtual stuff. Virtual sessions, like OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. So there's a variety of like ways in which you can do it. But the overall gist is you have a client and they have like usually a kink that they're really into or a couple kinks, and you explore that with them.
And how did you get into becoming a dominatrix? Like, what drew you to it?
Yeah, a mix of things. So I was in a relationship and we had a great sex life, honestly. Mm-hmm. I feel like I skip over that part of the story when I tell my like dominatrix origin story so often, but like I was having great sex. And that relationship ended, but I was still very like inspired by it almost, and was like, I want to help people with their sex lives. I want other people to like experience what I experienced. So I also had been interested in like gender and sexuality studies in undergrad. Okay. So around that time I enrolled in a sex coaching certification program.
While you were in college?
Post-grad.
Okay.
In college I was doing like gender and sexuality studies, like courses, like minor.
Got it, okay.
But I kind of like left that behind, and I like came back to it after a couple years and was like, I want to probably do this as a career. So I enrolled in this sex coaching certification program. And while I was in that, I'm learning about like all these different kinks and everything. And I really liked it. And I'm meeting all people in the industry. And I get fired from my from my full-time job. And I needed to pay for the program.
Oh.
And I was like, fuck, maybe I could be a dominatrix. Like, I don't know. And I was like, I think I could do that. Like, I have this base of knowledge now. And I had been like a little kinky in my relationship. So I wanted to do that. I needed money. And it kind of fell into my lap. Like, I met someone who knew someone who ended up getting me a job in it.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like right place, right time, and a lot of like little pieces fell into the right place for me to end up doing that. And that was 2 years ago.
Wow.
So we're in it now.
So are a lot of the clients that you have, are they recurring, or do you take on new clients, or you're like, I have too much on my plate right now?
I mean, right now I do it less because I kind of, have too much on my plate. In the beginning, I was seeing so many clients, like every day. When you're new to, you see everyone. Like everyone wants to meet like the new dom, you know? And then as time goes on, you kind of see the clients that they enjoy your style and they recur. So it's a mix of like new clients and returning clients, but in the beginning it's more like everyone is new. And then you form like those relationships and you have like consistent clients as well.
And so I have like so many questions, but is it more as like a freelancer, or are you part of like a larger company or like agency that will find people for you?
Yeah. So I'm part of an agency right now. People do it both ways, and I'm kind of in the middle right now. Like, when you do it on your own, that's called being independent. You're an independent dom. Okay. And when you work at a dungeon, you work with them, and every dungeon kind of like does it differently too. So some dungeons, you do still bring in your own clients. You are still responsible for doing that. Other dungeons, like mine, solely provides the clients. But I was like, I kind of want a little more autonomy over this. I really like this. I want to do more of it. I want to like learn how to get clients. I want to learn how to like market and how to screen and all that stuff. So I was like, I want to be finding my own clients as well, which is why I do a mix of both right now, like independent and at a dungeon.
And how do you find your clients?
So
if it's not provided for you.
Yeah, I have had success on social media. Like people utilize Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. There's also like other forums that people can use to like post about their services. So I do that a little bit, but honestly, as I started to do that and utilize social media, I found that I much prefer those people for like online stuff.
Oh. Okay.
I kind of prefer, like, when people come to me from social media, I like more having an online relationship with them as opposed to seeing them in person. And I really do prefer when like the dungeon brings me clients.
Yeah.
Because they are a bit different. Like the way that someone finds you tells a little bit of like who they are and like what their vibe is. Did that answer your question? I'm like,
yes.
Kind of a tangent.
I love that the places where the dominatrix work are called dungeons. I think that's like so hilarious and amazing, and I just love the name for it. I'm wondering the services that you provide virtually versus actual in person. What does that look like? Are there similarities or differences between the two?
Yeah, there are. So, I mean, in person, it's more physical. Like when I do an online session with someone, I have to tell them like spank yourself. But if I'm in person, I'm spanking them.
Yeah.
So that was a learning curve of like how to take it from doing fully in-person sessions to like how do I translate this to online, because usually I'm the one physically tying them up or like swinging them, flogging them, like impact play, or I'm like picking out an outfit and dressing them with like the clothes that I have. So when you do it online, it's more like you have to give like different instructions and you have to be a little bit more creative almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is the clientele, like demographic? What is the clientele? Because I have an idea in my head, but I'm wondering. I mean, you have a different perspective.
I know what your idea is.
Yeah.
Like, is it older, white, rich guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
No. That's everyone's idea.
Okay.
Like, that is the stereotypical client. And I would say that's, like, one of the biggest misconceptions. The clientele, it's, like, mid-20s to, like, mid-40s. And then there are older people, like I've had clients as old as like 80 years old, literally, I think.
Wow.
I'm like, are they even still alive? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on where you're located. Like New York City is just, people are young here. Like, you know, so I think that's why we get like that demographic. People have every type of job too. Like there's some clients where I could tell the amount that they're paying, whatever, has no like impact on them. Like it's like the money doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then other clients where I'm like, you saved up every fucking dollar for this, you know? So it's across all different like financial backgrounds, job types, ethnicities, and ages. Yeah.
Wow. That's actually so crazy, because for some reason I always thought it was like 40 and over.
Yeah.
Not between like 20s and 40s.
But again, I think it's because it's New York City. And people here are just young. Like, there's a lot of colleges. There's a lot of, like, international people, tourists. We honestly have, like, a lot of tourists when they come here because, like, you can't do it in wherever you're located. And you come to New York, so you want to do it here.
Wow.
So that's why I think that I have that demographic. And then when you advertise on like social media too, like my online work, I get more in that demographic as well because I think it's like that's who's utilizing social media.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
So fascinating. I wanted to also ask you, how do you navigate your clients' demands? Do you have like full control over them? Like you can say whatever you want and they'll do it? Or is it a little bit like give and take with the clients that you're working with?
It's give and take. It depends on the client. Like some clients are really obedient and will do whatever you say. Other clients want to be like a brat, say no. Like that's the term for them, like a bratty sub. I fucking hate a bratty subs. Don't come to me if you're a bratty sub. It's like annoying, but sometimes they resist and there's like a push and pull. It's different for every client. Like it's different for every person. Everyone has different kinks. Everyone has different ways in which they want to like indulge in them. So it really depends on like the specific person.
And what are some of the most like common kinks or asks that you get? And what are some of the most like extreme one-off, like you've never done this before, but you've like only done it once?
That's a good question. So the most common kinks for me that I service are sissification, like sissies. So guys who want to dress up like girls.
Okay.
And be called a good girl. And
You'll dress them up.
yes.
Okay.
Or like I'll have them dress themselves up if they're online. So yeah, they like to wear like panties and bras and sometimes makeup. These are my favorites because I'm just giving you a makeover. Like we're just saying it's easy. And so that's one of the major ones that I do, sissies, or it could also be called like feminization. The other most popular one, cuckolding, which is like they want to watch you have sex with someone else.
Oh.
But the key thing here is it's cuck role play. Like I don't actually have sex with someone in front of them. That's not a service that we provide, that I provide. So it's like the role play. So kind of telling them like I hooked up with this person this weekend and he's so much bigger than you, like his dick is bigger than you. They like small penis humiliation. The sissies like that too, small penis humiliation.
Yeah.
Usually. But it's telling them like I have all these hot guys or girls like I'm bi. So I tell them about like my sexual escapades.
Yes.
And I basically tease them with the fact that like they'll never get it like that. That's what cucking is.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I have two more for you.
Okay.
The other two common ones that I do, one is ball busting.
Okay.
Which means like you're beating the shit out of their balls. And
like do you like hit them, like smack, like really hard?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it depends on the person, but like kicking, kneeing, squeezing, slapping, what else? Like flicking, like all like different variations of like hurting someone's balls.
wow.
That one I enjoy. And then foot worship, which is like you're like looking at my feet.
I'm like that's why we have socks on. Wait,
so they like socks too though. I have some
like to
clients.
Like smell.
Yes.
Or...
Yes, like they like socks or shoes or stockings or sometimes just feet, and they want to like give me a foot massage and sniff them. Yeah.
And how long do the sessions usually last for?
Like an hour. It depends. Like online, I'll do 10-minute sessions, like very quick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In person, like an hour, sometimes more, but that's like standard. Everyone is different though. Like I really can only speak for myself. Yeah. When I meet other doms and we talk about like, you know, our jobs, they have very different kinks that they service mostly. Like the kinks that I have they don't require a lot of equipment.
Okay.
They don't require, like they're easy in my opinion. And then there's other kinks like people who are really into like bondage or like medical play or suspension, like that require more equipment, blood play even, that like other doms cater to, and like I cater to, the ones that I cater to. So everyone is different.
And what is like something that you've done as a one-off where you're like, oh my god, I cannot believe I did this? I'm sure you have more than just one story about that.
I do. I have one that actually I wasn't even working. I went to a workshop on this thing called sounding.
Okay.
You're like,
what is sounding?
Sounding is when you put usually metal, I think it could be like glass or plastic, something else, rod, up someone's urethra. Like up the hole, like the
urethra?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say their butthole, but...
No. Up their urethra, so like they're the guy. I mean, I've done it on like a dick. I think you could do it on a pussy. Mm-hmm. I would personally not, but like I did it on a guy with a penis, and I put the rod up, hit the hole. Yeah.
And then you just leave it there?
No, I don't know. It's like I only did this once, and I've had it requested of me only once after that. Yeah. So I never did it like outside of this like workshop setting where like I had someone telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. Because so you need a lot of equipment. Like you need the rods, and there's different like diameters. So you have to know, first of all, like what diameter, like I don't know how to tell that, like what diameter someone could take inside them. But he was like laying flat, like on his back. Yeah. I guess that's probably the best position to do it in. I'm not sure if you could do it in others. But he's laying on his back, and then you like hold their penis upright, and you use a shit ton of lube. You like pour lube all over everything. It's like the hardest part about this is like slipping with the lube. Like I'm like I can't even hold on to like his dick is slipping out of my hands because like of all this lube. Yeah. And you like slowly you like let gravity drop it in, and it just like goes deeper, and you kind of like do like a motion like this, like up and down, and like you pull the penis like up and down. And you like do want to get it going deeper and deeper. Yeah. And you can like go pretty deep, but I didn't. I did it very like baseline. I mean, the person I did it on, it was like also his first time doing it.
And this was at a workshop.
This was at a workshop, yeah.
I always wonder with things like that, or just like general kinks, at least the ones that you've mentioned, how do your clients know that they're even into that? Is it just like, oh, they like heard about it and they're curious, or they just like know that this is their thing?
It again is a mix. Like the sounding, the guy that I did that on, he showed up to this workshop and he was like, I've never done this before and I wanted to try, and like he literally had no interest in sounding. He was just like, I want to give everything a try type of vibe. So there's some people like that. But most of them do have like specific kinks that they've probably liked their whole life, Yeah. And they probably explored on their own. And now I honestly feel like the clients are very brave. Like doing this, like it's so vulnerable. And like they have liked this, and now they're taking that step to like explore it with another person. Yeah.
This whole world is like so fascinating to me, because obviously like you can see it in like the movies, or maybe you hear about it here and there online, but you don't like actually know unless like you're talking to someone that is doing this like day in and day out. Like you have a whole perspective that like not a lot of people know about. So honestly, like I really appreciate you like hopping on the podcast and like talking, because I'm like I actually asked like a few of my friends like, do you have any questions? And they're like, yes, and they're like no, like saying, and I was like writing everything down to make sure that like I could tackle like all the questions. But I think people are just really curious about it, because like everyone knows about like different types of sex work, but there's not a lot of like legitimate conversations around them. And so I think like just getting into them and talking about them really openly almost destigmatizes it in a way, because it honestly should be. But I wanted to ask as well, among the things that we kind of talked about before recording the podcast, is thinking about people's like sexual shame. And do you think people's sexual shame in their own lives contribute to the stigma around just like sex work in general?
Yes, I think absolutely. Like, shame has impacted our whole culture in regards to sex, not just sex work. I mean, it's like impacted the abortion debate and like just sexism in general. But I think it's kind of weird because like some shame is kind of good because it's what often turns people on. Like, shame is what turns a lot of my clients on. So it's almost like finding this middle ground of like, you don't want them to feel shame, and shame is overall like negative, but then that is part of why they're enjoying the kink that they are enjoying a lot of the time.
Is because there's a little bit of shame around
Yeah,
it.
because it's maybe like the shame is bad, but like the idea of things being taboo is kind of good because like that's what is the turn on a lot of the time. Not everyone, like some people, you know, like their kinks for other reasons and they don't find them shameful or taboo at all, but a lot of my clients do. But I think the sex work industry in general, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of secrecy, there's a lot of stigma around it, and people's own shame about what they like they project onto it. Like, why do you have this? This is not a real job. Get a real job. Like, sex work isn't, you know, you're not really doing anything. It's easy money. Like, they're projecting.
Yeah.
Because of their own shame and the kinks that they probably fucking have. You know? So it's kind of
like,
weird.
It's like they're the biggest hypocrites, but like they got their secret.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone does. And like the people who are more, you know, open and in tune with themselves, like they're not shitting on sex workers.
Yeah.
They're because they don't have to like project like that.
Yeah. And sex work is real work. Let's
Yes.
just clarify that.
It is like super real work.
Yeah.
But that is
I mean, I think you're
stigma.
almost doing like work that, because I just think about maybe some of the egos that you have to manage or anything like that. And also just the idea of like a human interaction, because I think working at a dungeon, you also like might not necessarily, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but you might not necessarily know like who's walking in the door. So you're kind of just like, okay, whoever comes in, like I'll be ready to like tackle any type of like personality or kink or anything like that. So just being able to be like really flexible in your work,
yes,
I think is very impressive versus like a lot of work out there that's like very rigid and like based off of schedules and the more like corporate type of setting.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, you have to be on your toes all the time. It depends on how you do it. Like, if you're independent, you usually have more communication with the clients beforehand. Like, you can set up more of the session and plan it. But that's a skill in and of itself. Like, planning a 4-hour, 5-hour session when someone just tells you one kink that they like that's a skill too. And then on the other end, which is more what I do, it's like people come in and I don't really know what I'm gonna be doing with them and I figure it out on the spot. Yeah. So there's a lot of like creativity in this job and like go with the flow, thinking on your feet, and a lot of communication. Like it's really relies on like communication skills and like intuition with the particular client that you're seeing.
And around the topics about like sexual shame and kinks, how do you think people should almost like not completely get rid of their shame, but don't be as shameful about their kinks and actually like embrace them through like different sexual experiences?
I would say just enjoy it. Like, literally just enjoy yourself. If you like something, so long as it's not hurting someone else, so long as it's consensual, like, just enjoy yourself. Because a lot of people think, like, their kink is, like, the worst one. Like, I've had clients be like, I wish I didn't like this, and I wish I liked that instead, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but that fucking bitch feels the same way about him and what he likes, and he would prefer to like what you like. So I would say just like enjoy yourself. You don't need to go so far as to like pay a sex worker. That's not for everyone. I don't think everyone should be a client. But I think you can definitely enjoy like masturbating. You can enjoy like porn, and you can communicate it with a partner in your life, like a person in your life. A lot of my clients, like, they don't do that. They come to us because almost like seeing a sex worker is what reduces the shame in and of itself, because they can have this experience with someone who's not going to be judging them, like who's seen it all, who doesn't know anything about their life, who's not going to tell anyone. Like it's anonymous in a way, but they don't want to tell the people in their life about it. And I'm like, some of you should. Some of you could be rubbing your girlfriend's feet like you're rubbing my feet right now. Like, I don't understand. You could be enjoying yourself more. So I think there's a lot of ways that you can enjoy your kinks. One of them is seeing like a pro dom or a sex worker, but you can enjoy it on your own or like with people in your life if you just communicate that, and odds are they have a kink that they feel some type of shame about, and like they haven't told you, and it can open up a good conversation.
And I know that you are also a sex coach. So how does your experience as a dominatrix, if any of your experience as a dominatrix has helped you transfer into like your skill set as a sex coach?
I almost feel like it went the other way. Like I feel like my skill set and my knowledge of being a sex coach like helped with my doming career. This is kind of like a personal answer. I had struggled to like market for both of them because when you're being a dom, like you're humiliating people on their kinks. Even though like I'm not actually judgmental, like I've seen it all, like I'm not actually judging the person, like my job is to judge them and to like make them feel like bad about what they like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So then with coaching, like it's the opposite. You want to make someone feel good about what they like. You want to reduce that shame. And that's why I mean like some shame is kind of good, because like that's in a lot of ways why I have a job as a dominatrix. Is because, so like for example with penis size, right? Like small penis humiliation is a big kink. To my clients, I'm looking at their penis and I'm like, that's so fucking small. Like that's disgusting. No woman should ever like be around that. It's not even a dick. And then the conversation as a sex coach is like, that's okay. Size doesn't matter. Like you can please a partner in another way. So I'm like, I kind of struggled because I was like, I feel like I'm constantly contradicting myself. Even though I know what I believe, but in terms of like the marketing for that and like the perception from an outside point of view. Yeah. So, there are similarities, and like the information as a dom and as a sex coach complement each other, but like the ways in which you market, at least I found, contradict each other.
Interesting. And to your clients, what as more clients as a sex coach, what are some of the issues that they're trying to tackle when they come to you? Yeah.
So with sex coaching, people often like niche what the specific problems they want to cater to. Similar to like being a dom, like I have my certain kinks that I cater to. As a sex coach, the kinks that the like issues that I mostly dealt with were like people being insecure about their kinks. And specifically men. Like I honestly really like working with men. I have some like queer clients, some like trans, non-binary clients. But what I like niched in on was like kink. And like how to communicate your kinks to your partners if you would like to, or how to find a partner that like you can indulge in this kink with. So that was mostly like my area for sex coaching, but it's such a broad like industry. Other people do more like physical issues like premature ejaculation or like inability to orgasm, pain during sex. some people mostly see female clients, male clients, like whatever, queer clients, like everyone has a different specialty in it, but mine was mostly like submissive men who wanted to explore their kinks with someone and struggled because of like the shame that they had, or like they didn't know how to communicate it, or they couldn't find a partner to indulge in that with. And that was because of like my experience as a dominatrix. I was like, I think that's what I could help people with.
The contradiction between like how you communicate with your clients as a sex coach versus dominatrix is so fascinating to me. Like the complete being like, that you're gross, da 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 da, and then being like, it's okay, like it's gonna be okay. It's so wild to me.
Well, then after they come, like my clients, then I'm like also kind of sex coaching them, and like I don't provide so much aftercare. Not that I don't think it's important, because aftercare is very important, but I think it's not really my job. I don't know. That's probably like not a great statement to make about it, probably. No, I mean, but it's not. Like, I don't know my clients. Like, aftercare is so vulnerable, and I provide like a moderate amount of it, depending on like what that client needs. But sometimes they are really overwhelmed after the session when we're like wrapping up, and they do feel bad about what they just did. And then I do need to like turn on that switch, like that sex coaching switch almost, like, and provide aftercare and be like, it's okay. Like, you know, everyone like likes different things, and don't worry about, like, I have to switch on that mode sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
I've had like clients cry during sessions, like during it, because it's like cathartic almost, but they're overwhelmed with what's happening and what they like, and they're like you see them in real time, like breaking through that shame, and they're like sobbing in my arms.
Sobbing because, is it like happy tears, sad tears? Like, how would you interpret their emotion?
I feel like it's a mix. Like, it's a mix of, I don't even know if it's like happy and sad, but almost like sexually charged and turned on, and then like embarrassed by what they're turned on by. Like, it's definitely positive and negative emotions at once, and it's almost like breaking through that shame. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's how I would interpret it.
It's probably like so layered for each person.
Yes.
About like, because again, like as you said, you don't really know these people.
Yeah.
So there's probably so much more like added context to the tears that you may just not necessarily be aware about too.
Exactly. Like, that's why every client is different. Every experience is different. And we know each other in these like very specific spaces. We don't know each other like outside of it. I mean, I have clients who I've been seeing now for like 2 years since I started that I know more, but like I don't know your day-to-day life. So it's interesting because you get to know someone so well in like that specific space, and like I know all about their kinks, and like to the T. I'm like, I know what like makes this person go crazy and what they hate, and I'm like, I don't even know your middle name. Like, I don't even know your first name. Like,
but you know this like such niche part about themselves that is so intimate. Yeah. And they probably like, you probably know this about so many people that they haven't even told their closest friends and family.
Oh, absolutely. And it's cool. I mean, I like that. Like, they don't know me either. Like, they don't know my real name. And they don't know what I do on a day-to-day. And like, that's kind of the beautiful part about it. Yeah. Is it's just like, you're just doing this one thing together, and then you go your separate ways.
Insane.
And I leave with money.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, on the topic of money, because people, you know, I think online, everyone talks through, like, how much do people make, or, like, if you are in this world, like, how do you even, like, quote yourself in terms of the services that you provide? Not to say, like, you don't have to say, obviously, how much money you make, unless you want to be transparent about that. But like, how did you find resources where if you are like an independent person seeking clients and they're asking you for certain things, like how did you find about like dealing with the finances of everything?
Yeah. I had like a different experience than someone who started off independent because I started at a dungeon and like that provided so much information to me on pricing, but like in that context of the dungeon. So independent doms like can charge more, or like if, depending on what service you're providing, like maybe you need to charge more. So I like base my pricing based off of the dungeon. Like they price for us. I'll be like relatively transparent with it.
Yeah.
Clients pay around like 250 on like the lower end. We've like raised like 300 to sometimes even like 600 for an hour. Depending on like the higher end, like the 500, 600 is usually like for transportation, like if they don't live nearby, and there's like a transportation cost.
Transportation costs for you to
For
go
me to go to them.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so that's like more the higher end, but I know some like independent doms that charge that because of their skill set and like what they offer. So everyone is different in terms of pricing, but like dungeons typically charge like 250 to like 450 for an in-call per hour.
Meaning going to the dungeon.
Yeah, like the client is coming to you.
Oh, I guess the dungeon, since it's more, I'm trying to picture it as like agency or like working for a company, they would take like a percentage because you're working under the dungeon.
Yeah. And that's different everywhere too. Like it depends on how that particular agency like does it.
Yeah.
But then when you're independent, like you are renting a space from somewhere as well. Like you still need a space to do that in. So you're kind of almost always like giving some of your money to the space that you're renting, unless the client is like getting a hotel room, which does happen sometimes too. Pricing is so like I did a podcast a couple months ago and she asked me the same question and I was like 250 to 350 and now I'm here, I'm like 600. Like pricing, it's kind of confusing and like it's a difficult topic. I don't know if do you follow like Blue-Eyed Kayla Jade or like any of the like Australian sex workers?
I do not.
Okay. I'm like in deep with these people. They don't even know me. I'm like in fucking deep with their drama. But basically there's a lot of like sex workers on social media and in some countries where it's like fully legal, like full service type of sex work, like in Australia.
Okay.
But even like strippers in the US like do money counts online. So like they'll come and like count their money that they made from their client, their session or whatever. And then
they'll like live stream it.
They'll like make a TikTok and like a kind of like almost like a get ready with me, but they're like counting their money, you know? Yes. And then a lot of them stopped doing that because it was like hurtful to other people in the industry because that they were like, I'm not making as much as that person. And so I think pricing is difficult to like convey because everyone prices differently. There's different reasons for it. So, and I fear that I'm going to say like a price and like offend someone or like, you know with the money counts.
You know what it makes me think about is it makes me think about tattoo artists for some reason. Because why? I think in like, I am not a tattoo artist, but I have a lot of friends who will tattoo, but the ranges that people provide are insane.
Yeah.
Like people who are just starting off, obviously like you're not going to charge an exorbitantly high rate because you'll take probably anyone because you're just starting out. But people who now have like either followings on social media or much well known will charge like hundreds upon hundreds of dollars for like a small little like tattoo. Like one of my friends, she got a tattoo of like it was some sort of like mermaid thing. The tattoo was like maybe this big, $400 like for a stick and poke versus like I got this custom tattoo by like an artist who now is doing super well, but at the time they had only been tattooing for maybe 3 months
Wait,
And
what? That's so good.
yes,
3 months.
Yes, and I paid them. It was
beautiful.
custom, and I think I paid them like $200.
Yeah.
So it varies so vastly. So like obviously like what you could say your rate is could be completely different compared to somebody else.
That's actually a really good like comparison, and that's why it is difficult to like discuss because it depends on so much. Depends on like where you're working, the location, the person's kinks, like your experience level, and the equipment that you're providing, like a million things, you know?
Yeah,
That's a great comparison.
oh my goodness. And then in terms of you as a sex coach, what are some of the strategies that you give clients who are like tackling certain issues?
I feel like the biggest strategy, well, like the first step usually is permission. Like, so I give them like permission to be experiencing whatever they're experiencing. It's almost like the talking through it with someone else and like is such a big step because a lot of people like don't talk about their sexual issues.
Yeah.
There's like a lot, especially with like, you know, men or like older clients, like I feel like in our generation we're a little bit more like
open.
yeah, we're like a little bit more transparent with like our friendships and stuff.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, like they've never even talked to someone about what they're going through. So like honestly just like opening up that dialogue is like really important. And then like the strategies from there, it really depends like on what the person's struggle is, like on what their concern is and what they want to work through. With coaching, it's different than like therapy. We do like I'm like, what is the word? Depathologizing, like I don't know how to say that approach. Like we're not like diagnosing someone in the way that like a therapist would.
Got it.
So it's more of like a positive. We're almost like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want to work towards? Like, it's like a kind of a positive, and then you try to pick a goal that they want. Maybe it's orgasming. Maybe they've never orgasmed. Maybe it's orgasming with the client. Maybe it's as simple, but honestly as complicated as like sharing your kink with your partner and telling your partner what you want to do in bed. So whatever that goal is, we're basically working towards that and like creating steps, like action steps for how they can achieve that goal. And maybe the goal changes, you know? Maybe they're like, actually, I don't want to do this, or I thought that this was my goal and it's not really my goal. So you're like constantly reevaluating it. But like first step, like giving the person permission to like experience what they're experiencing and then having them give themselves permission and then defining goals and like working towards them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard. It's fucking hard. The
like-
doming is way easier. Sex
Really?
coaching is fucking hard, yeah.
I guess because you're just like, it's less more physical action.
Yeah.
And more like you have to like talk them through like their own like mental processes about everything. I can see how that can be more difficult.
Yeah, it's hard work.
I also wanted to ask you too, what is the most rewarding part of what you do?
The most rewarding part, I mean, part of it's money. Like, this is a job, and, like, it's a job where some people in this industry do, like, solely FinDom, which is, like, financial domination.
Yes.
So, money is, like, a huge thing, and that has definitely been rewarding. But I have really enjoyed, like, a lot of the experiences that I've had with my clients. I've, like, learned so much. When I first started, I didn't even know what ball busting was.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, oh my God, I had a client so early on, and his kink was like loser humiliation. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, loser? And it's like, you just humiliate them into being a loser, but like these simple things, like, I didn't know. So I've like learned so much and had the pleasure of meeting so many different people.
Yeah.
Like, when you work in this industry, you have all these sexual experiences. Like, they are kind of sexual in a way. Mm-hmm. It is sex work. So even though I'm not like naked and like fucking, like, you know, it is, I've had these like sexual experiences with all of these people that I wouldn't have had. And so I've like learned about other things, other kinks, what people like, and I've like learned more about myself through that.
Yeah.
So that's been rewarding too.
I wanted to ask, I know that a lot of the clients that you have are predominantly men, but I'm wondering, like, are there other, in terms of more like dominatrix side of things?
Yeah.
Like, have you worked with women before, or like non-binary folks, or like non-men, essentially?
So that's like such a good question and like such a difficult question. Mostly I work with men, like cisgender men, who are like, a lot of them are definitely queer and like in the closet, or some of them are out as being queer or whatever.
Yeah.
But like literally 99% of my clients is men.
Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of it is how you market. Like the place that I work, we market towards men. Men are just more likely to pay for this. Men are resistant to share that they like this stuff with a partner. Like being submissive as like a woman is kind of the status quo in bed. So why are you going to pay someone to, I mean, but there are like other types of clients, like other genders. And I had a trans female client, like a trans woman. And that was like a really difficult experience for me. And prior to seeing her, who she was like lovely, nothing against her, it was just really hard for me. Prior to seeing her, I was like, yeah, if I go independent, I'll see anyone of any gender identity and like any sexual orientation. I like literally wrote it down on like a website I was working on. Then I saw her, I fucking took that off. Like I want to see the men because men are easier.
Oh.
With her, I was like worried about her afterwards.
Oh.
Like, is she okay? Like that was, I like ball busted her so hard, what she wanted.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, I don't want to say that like, this is just one experience that I had. So I probably shouldn't be like generalizing it to all like trans women, of course. But there was like this component of like, she wanted to be like hurt, and it was almost like self-harm. Like she's like, I want you to bust my balls because I like hate that I have balls. So I think it like was that experience. Like if I had a different experience with like a client, I would probably have a different perception of it. But I think it almost like I was worried afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
I was worried during it. Like
that
I was
is
like,
such a again, that experience, there's so many like layers.
There's so many
to
layers
think through with that. Like fascinating, but I can see like the own like internal like mental struggle that you're having, being like wanting to make sure that like your client is being pleased, but at the same time like you're like, are they gonna be okay? Like that's so wild.
I'm also bi, so like there was that component too of like I don't know, this is hard. Like I'm worried about her. She was beautiful too. I'm like, this pretty girl's here. Like I'm like flustered. Like with the
you like the gay panic a little bit.
Yeah, literally. Like she walked and she had like silver eyeshadow like in the corner of her eye. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like what am I supposed to do? Like this is too with just any client. Like I have friends who prefer hot clients. I prefer like the ugly clients because it's easier to like humiliate them and shame them and dominate them, and like then the hot ones walk in, like this beautiful girl walks in. I'm like, what the fuck? Like it makes it hard. So I don't know, I feel like that's probably not like a socially acceptable answer to say that I really do prefer like the male clients, but I thought that I wouldn't. I thought that I would be open to everyone, and that I had an experience which it was not a bad experience, something went wrong, but like it just hit me in a way that I didn't think it would. And I've since been like resistant. But absolutely any person of any gender identity, any sexual orientation can see a sex worker and should if they want to. And there are plenty of DOMs that like do cater to like whatever clientele and like market specifically for that.
Wow, that was such a fascinating story. Like, no, it's so interesting to me because obviously, like, it is pretty like just generally known out there that like predominantly men will see like dominatrix all, and maybe it has to do with like the patriarchy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like maybe it has to do a little bit about that. But it's just like
Definitely.
fascinating to me to like hear those stories, and I'm sure for everyone else that like listens to this podcast as well, like hearing that is like really enlightening, honestly.
Okay, thank God, because I was rambling.
No, it's
Like, what
good.
even?
I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
The first is, how do you unwind after work? How do you have work-life balance? Because I'm sure, like, when you see your clients, it's like all hours of the day, like randomly, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. it is.
How do you find that work-life balance for yourself?
That's a good question, and it's honestly something I've struggled with so much. Like, when I first started, I had no work-life balance. Like, anytime anyone wanted to see me, I was there. Like, I'm like even actually this happened the other day. I'm like mid manicure, like mid pedicure, and they're like, "You have a client." And I was like, "All right, just put the put the top coat on. I gotta go." Like,
Oh my gosh.
it's hard to find a work-life balance as a sex worker, whether you're working in person at a dungeon or in person independently, or whether you're working online too. Like, it's a full-time job in a lot of ways. How I unwind, I don't know. I really don't. Like, I like come home.
You're like, I'm all ready.
I come home from my session, I smoke a fucking bowl, and like I watch Hulu. Like, I don't know. Like, and I fucking pass out. Like, no. I think self-care is really important. I actually like wrote for a lore on like self-care as a sex worker, and I probably said some good stuff in there. Like, working out. I like a steam room.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of ways to make your body feel good, and it's important to kind of like separate the fact that your body is being used in like the sexual context so much, and then like your body can be used in all these other ways.
Yeah.
So it's varied over time, and there have been times where I've had no work-life balance, and then there have been times where I've like taken strides to have more of a balance and said no to more clients and limited my hours, and it goes in waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a few rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
For you. The first is, what's the big, I know that we've talked about some misconceptions about being a dominatrix or the clientele that comes, but what is to you the biggest misconception about being a dominatrix?
I think it would be probably that the clients are all these like rich, white, older men. And then I had another one. Now this is like rapid fire, and I'm fucking blanking out. I'm so hungover.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, the biggest misconception that I would get asked all the time is like that we have sex with our clients. They think we're like hand jobs, blow jobs, foot jobs, sex. Like, that's not what most prodoms do.
Yeah. And what's been your favorite thing to make a man do?
I made this guy lick a toilet bowl. And I made another one fuck a toilet bowl. Like,
Wait,
and come literally from fucking a toilet. That was actually really fire.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What's
I know, I could pick so many. It's
No,
hard.
it's so funny because now like the question that I had after that was, what's the weirdest or craziest thing you've gotten asked?
Fuck. That I've gotten asked. Oh, I don't know, maybe that, but they didn't ask me. Like, I just
told them
did
to do
it. Yeah.
Has anyone asked you to do something? You're like, whoa.
Oh yeah. I had one guy, he was into like forced feeding. So like he wanted me to force him to like eat something really disgusting. And I was like, all right, just as long as you bring the food, like I'm not fucking buying whatever. So he brings tuna salad. But the fucking worst part, I hate tuna salad. I hate tuna salad. Ew, I'm like gonna puke.
You were like gagging as you were feeding it?
Well, the worst part was, yeah, he was also into feet. So I was feeding it to him off of my feet. Like, I'm like gagging.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was honestly really, I never saw him again. I don't even know if he enjoyed the experience because I certainly
Did not.
I mean, like, it's so funny because sometimes I'll like not like a particular experience, but then it's like, but nothing wrong happened.
Yeah.
Like there's no like, I'm in such a privileged position where I haven't experienced any like harm, any like assault. Like honestly, like I'm so lucky. So then I shit on these experiences. I'm like, I didn't like that, but like it was fine. Like it was fun. It was cool.
Yeah. It's
you
silly.
know?
We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And then my last question for you, that's not as rapid fire, but it's the question that I end a lot of the episodes that I've done with. And it is, what is something that you learned in the past year of your life that you're going to take into your next year?
Specifically, this was a big year of growth. I turned 27, and I honestly feel like that 26 to 27 is like a pretty big step. Like you're going into your late 20s and just like thinking more towards the future. I feel like I learned that, can I make it like sex work specific?
It could be anything.
It could be anything. When I first got into it, I was like, oh, how long am I going to do this for? And that's like a common question I get. Like, how long are you going to do this for? Like, you can't do this forever. And you can if you want to. I don't know that like I will, but I think as I'm getting older and like I'm still enjoying it and I still like it, it's like almost destigmatizing that shame for myself. Like I can be whatever age and do this if I want to. So I guess that's something that over this past year, as I like entered my late 20s, like had come up, you know, that you can do this at any age. I can do it at any age, and then like I just, if I want to.
Yeah.
So I'm carrying that on to 28.
I love that. No, I'm also 27 too. So
Yeah.
we're carrying that on. We can do anything we want. Doesn't matter. Because I think there's like, I know, especially with like TV shows, movies, things like that, there have been more shows that have depicted more nuanced characters for like middle-aged women, because this is the whole stereotype of like, you know, as you get older as a woman, like you can't do as much, but like you can do whatever you want at any age.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
but there is stigma around it. Did you watch White Lotus?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like even the women in that show, like depicting them, and I think media is like doing a pretty good job recently of like showcasing women who are not just like in their fucking early 20s, you know?
Yeah.
But there is a lot of like stigma and shame around that, especially in the sex work industry.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm saying, fuck that. That's what I learned.
Yes, preach. Well, thank you so much, Mistress Lauren, for coming on the podcast. I like to end every episode with a quote, usually based off of the topic that we discuss. So the quote that I have,
Okay.
and also the quote, when I found it online, they didn't say who actually said it. So the quote is, "Control is not about enforcing rules, but about creating a space where everyone understands and respects them."
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really true.
Yeah. Well,
I
thank you
love that.
so
Thank
much
you.
again for hopping on the podcast. And for anyone listening, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask away and maybe we'll like answer them in the comments or something like that. But thank you again.
Thank you for having me.